Welcome to the Driving the World podcast series. I'm your host, Cully Holland. Today we have Don Congdon, a corporate trainer here at SEW, and we will be discussing the MOVI-C Decentralized portfolio. Hey, Don, thanks for joining me today.
Nice to be back, Cully.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the MOVI-C Decentralized portfolio. Definitely a very cool, innovative portfolio we have. So why don't we just start off maybe at square one and talk about what decentralized even means to some of our customers and listeners.
Yes, decentralized is really a very big idea in many applications. I think we're all pretty familiar with the idea of putting electronics in a cabinet, running wires to what it's controlling, and everything's in one central location. That's kind of how we've done things traditionally over the years. But decentralized is something SEW actually pioneered in the 1990s. The idea that you put the motor controller, the variable frequency drive, VFD, right on top of the motor or very close to it, and you connect it up to power that's right there, so it cuts out the need for long cables. This kind of technology is really good for conveyors, logistics, any place where you have a whole bunch of motors, just one after the other. So decentralized is a powerful idea. It's become more and more powerful as we've started having online retailers that need massive numbers of conveyor motors. We're seeing it in airports. We're seeing it really any place you're moving a lot of stuff. So decentralized is a big idea. It's really very special. What is so special about the MOVI-C line of decentralized products, and MOVI-C is our newest, latest, and greatest generation of electronics at SEW. We introduced it a few years back, and it's just been emerging over the last few years. What is so special about it is we've made this product internally very consistent, which means as you learn one product, you're really learning all the others. So there are very few learning curves to climb. You climb one learning curve, and you've pretty much climbed almost all of the others. And that really just makes your life a whole lot easier, makes things simpler. And we're very proud of this product because it's been thought through very carefully.
Well, I'm sure a lot of listeners and customers are going to love hearing easier, simpler, standardized. I mean, those are things that when you're picking out products or trying to learn something new or even grasp a large idea like decentralized is going to make you feel a little more comfortable with it right off the bat. And you mentioned cabinet VFDs, kind of the way things have been done, and I'm sure a lot of applications and scenarios still call for them. And in this MOVI-C family and portfolio, are there any really big key differences other than the location of the VFD that our customers or listeners need to be aware of between cabinet and decentralized MOVI-C?
No, that's actually part of the magic of the MOVI-C product line. The difference between the cabinet products and the decentralized is very, very minimal. Obviously, the physical products are somewhat different how we implement them, but from the point of view of engineering them, configuring them, commissioning everything, diagnosing problems, it is very much the same. In fact, we offer a 2-day MOVI-C class where we cover both cabinet and decentralized products. We cover cabinet on day 1 and decentralized on day 2, but we could just as easily have reversed that. The products are so similar that when you learn one, you just smoothly move into the other. It's not like we really have to shift gears when we shift the demo units we use in the class. We just keep on teaching, and that's because these products feel practically identical. So again, I'm just going to emphasize the big key word with the MOVI-C product line is consistent. When you learn one, you're learning it all.
And we love consistency. I mean, using the same software, the same platform, and having the same look and feel. You mentioned earlier you're cutting down on learning curves. Once you have it once, you kind of got it. And I mean, that really just goes to prove that point. And we're saying MOVI-C, decentralized family, latest and greatest, been out for a few years. I believe we have discussed it maybe once or twice on this podcast, but are there any updates or overviews we need to talk about when it comes to the MOVI-C decentralized portfolio?
Yeah, let's just kind of summarize it to, again, put it more clearly in your mind. This is probably the most complicated area I want to talk about this morning, and I'm glad you mentioned that about a year ago, we did several podcasts about the decentralized product with Greg Galbraith, and I encourage you to go back and listen to those if you haven't heard them. They're very good. But let me just give you a little summary of the decentralized portfolio. First of all, we have four major branches here. We have what is called the MOVIMOT Advanced VFD, and that is a decentralized VFD connected with an asynchronous motor or an internal permanent magnet motor. That, of course, is very popular. Those motors are big players in the industry. But then we have MOVIMOT Performance, which is, again, the same idea, but with a servo motor connected to a VFD mounted on top of it. Then there's MOVIMOT Flexible, which is just the VFD designed to be bolted near a motor that it connects to with a cable, short cable. And it can be almost any kind of motor. It's very broad in what it can control. And then finally, our last implementation of this is MOVI-Gear Performance, which is our gearbox VFD servo motor combination all in one. This is really a nifty product, very popular on conveyor lines. So we have four major branches. Now, you go underneath this, and we have four communication styles that are available. We can communicate using just simple binary control, on-off switches, a potentiometer. We have ASI control, a very simple field bus actuator sensor interface is what it's called. Then we have a version that connects to EtherCAT and our proprietary system bus, which we call S-Bus Plus. And then finally a field bus version, which works with industry standard field buses like Profinet, Ethernet IP, and Modbus TCP. So four major branches, four communication types, and then underneath that we have four sizes.
Really getting on with the fours here.
Yeah, we're getting into fours. If you want to do the permutation math, we're getting up to a lot of combinations here. We have size 1, 1E, 2, and 2E that go progressively higher power ratings. And those have multiple current ratings within them. I think there's about 9 current ratings total. So we're up to a ton of combinations here. But let me come to the really big idea and the magic point here. The decentralized VFDs for all four of those, MOVIMOT Advanced, Performance, MOVI-Gear, MOVIMOT Flexible, they're exactly the same. There are two parts. There's a base called the terminal base that has the connectors and wiring in it. And then there's what's called the electronics cover, or E-cover, which has the VFD control and communications. Now, these two come apart, and you do that when you're configuring it or if you're doing maintenance work. But here's the big idea. If a cover malfunctions or is damaged in some way and you have to replace it, you don't have to make everything match just perfectly. If you've got a MOVIMOT Advanced that died and you have a spare MOVIMOT Performance or MOVI-Gear Performance you're not using, you can pop its E-cover off, move it over, get it commissioned quickly, and you're back in operation. There are just a few minor rules that you have to obey. They have to be the same physical size, obviously, so they can plug together, compatible power rating, and the same communications type. But beyond that, you don't have to worry too much about it. And that is a big win for maintenance people. They don't have to have a huge stock of completely different VFDs. They just have to have examples of each category, and they can mix and match them freely. So that is really big.
That is a huge bonus. I mean, a huge plus, like you said, in maintenance. I mean, helping eliminate or minimize downtime. All of that comes into play when we're talking about spares. And over this conversation, I mean, we started off and you're saying it's standardized. It's going to be the same look and feel, short learning curve. We love that. And then immediately off the bat, some listeners may be like, okay, well, if it's standardized, easy learning curve, I'm sure we're going to have limited options. Maybe we won't have that much flexibility. And then, like you said, the fours, we start really just kind of having an exponential curve of options every level we go down. So even though we're trying to make it easy to interface with, we are still leaving all the options, all the flexibility for our customers to choose their power, to choose their current, to choose their communication, and which type of motors they want to control. So even though we're trying to make it as easy as possible on the front end, we are not taking away any of the flexibility that SEW has come to be known for. I mean, we've covered a lot. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about when it comes to the MOVI-C Decentralized package?
Yes, one or two things, then we'll wrap up. But let me say that was just a marvelous little summary. The idea that we've got all these permutations and yet simplicity at the same time. That really, I think, highlights how nice MOVI-C is. But let me give you two little extras to wrap up on. First of all, Let me say that we do offer a class in the MOVI-C cabinet and decentralized products. It's a 2-day class. We offer it 4 times a year. Now, this year's are all filled up, and the year is fast winding up. But for 2025, we will be taking registrations for those starting early next year. So if you think this is important to you, I urge you to sign up for it. We'll take you through these products in just 2 days and give you a good grounding. We also have a YouTube version of our class that you can get on our SEW YouTube channel. So if you can't attend in person, that's a good alternative. But let me talk about something else. The MOVI-C products, and we're talking MOVI-C here, not our earlier generations, from the smallest to the greatest, have something called MOVI kits available to them. These are application programs that implement a lot of standard automation tasks. And you don't have to be a programmer to use these. You just do some configuration. In fact, we cover 2 MOVI kits in our 2-day class that are enough to get you really understanding how to work with these. And these can do countless things for you that in the past required custom software and development. So this is something really nice in MOVI-C, and we keep adding MOVI kits. There are more and more of them popping up, doing more and more tasks. So we're just thoroughly covering you as we're transitioning from our B generation products to our C generation.
Wonderful. I'm glad you added those 2 snippets in. Definitely did not want to miss that. Only thing I want to add is with the SEW-EURODRIVE YouTube channel, make sure you're going to SEW-EURODRIVE USA. We have a few Eurodrives around the world, so
yes,
when you go to SEW-EURODRIVE USA, if you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, it's going to be the playlist right next to it. Just one little clarification there.
All right.
But with that, Don, thank you so much for your time. Great podcast.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Cully. Glad to be here.